Hi everyone, I'm Zach McDowell and here's my Module 1 presentation. First off, a little bit about me. I live in Winfield, Kansas. I'm in my 8th year of education. I've kind of been all over the place, but all of them I've spent here in Winfield. I spent 5 years as a classroom teacher, teaching 3rd grade. I loved it. Then had an opportunity to move on to be the PE teacher at that same school. I really enjoyed that as well. And now I'm in my 2nd year at Winfield High School with a new position. I'm the strength and conditioning coach for all of athletics at the high school, and I'm really enjoying it. Um, I have a really big family, 5 brothers and sisters. 4 of them are also teachers. No, neither one of my parents were educators. We all just kind of share a love for helping kids and being around them. Um, I'm married to my wife, Sarah. She's a physical therapist. We also met at Southwestern, so obviously Southwestern is a really important place for me. My 2 dogs, Mo, he's the brown Labradoodle, and Moxie. They got some puppies here coming in the next week or two, so it's gonna be pretty busy times. I'm a coach. I coach football, boys golf, and powerlifting, and in the past I've coached some basketball as well. I love to compete. It really doesn't matter what it is. If there's a winner and a loser, uh, I'm usually all for it. Um, I don't know if that'll ever change. In my spare time, I enjoy golfing and just spending time with my family, um, whatever that is. We just like to share a lot of time with each other. Next slide. What is action research? Action research is a reflective practice with improving understanding and instructional practices, um, trying to find what works best for our students. With action research, you identify the question, test out a strategy, gather data on it, and then determine its effectiveness, how well it worked. In action research, teachers are actively participating while doing the research, and it's a continuous process which requires a lot of reflecting and adjusting and just repeating the process until you find what works best. The purpose of action research is to determine how effective your teaching strategies are working, to improve the quality and performance, keeping student success and well-being in mind. Want to identify what is working best for our students to allow them to grow. It allows teachers to experience problem solving, um, and show that and model it to our students, and allows teachers to make informed changes. Um, by being a part of the research yourself and actively doing it, it allows us to identify what's most effective for our students. 4 different types of action research. First one's just individual, so that would just be the teacher in their own classroom setting performing it. Collaborative, which would be 2 or more teachers participating in the action research. Kind of a bigger part of collaborative is the school-wide and district-wide, which school-wide would be all teachers and staff in your school or building participating in it, and the district is a complete collaborative approach for all your schools and staff in the district. The main steps of action research. The first step is planning. In this step, you're going to define a specific question or identify that certain thing um, that you think needs work or developed, and then brainstorm some ideas. Um, you want to be sure that it's topic focused. You have it um, identified what it is you actually want to achieve out of it. It needs to be realistic and also measurable uh, for a data purpose. Um, During this step, you want to read literature, research as much as you can to gather those ideas. The next step is action. So in this step, you're going to develop a plan of action steps you're going to use for your research, um, and also some experimentation and data collection. The next step is analysis. In this part, you're going to review and organize the data that you retrieved. This step includes observations, artifacts, journal reflections, Scoring and attendance logs. This is where you're kind of um, sorting out your data to see what was most effective, and kind of using those different resources as a guide for you. Next step's conclusion. This is a reflection of the data. Often will prompt some questions for you. Some of them might be, were my assumptions correct? Is my data efficient? Did I achieve out of this what I was hoping for or planning for? And the last step is just, like I said, action research is an ongoing process. So you're going to report your results and make adjustments based on the data. Many action researches require multiple attempts and processes and finding what's most efficient and effective. On this slide, we're going to talk about action research versus traditional research and kind of how they're different from each other. Action research is individualized and situational. You're finding out what works best for your class. All students are different, and what works for one class might not work for another class or be as efficient. Action research allows a first-person point of view. With you being part of the research, you aren't just looking at data and numbers, you are a part of it and able to identify some barriers and different things that may cause that data to look that way. And allows you to use some personal judgment. I think that's kind of one of the most important ones, and is key for action research, is allowing you to use your own judgment while it's happening. Traditional research, on the other hand, you're going to get unbiased data, but it is controlled groups. These are random groups. These are not kids that you know, people that you know. These are simply just numbers and data. And because of that, all of your data is just going to be black and white. Basically, traditional research, you're putting a person as a number without knowing anything about that person. So it kind of takes that personal judgment out of there and just allows you to look at just the facts. Some common problems with action research, some ethical issues. Obviously, you're trying new things or new strategies or practices with your students, and that could cause some ethical issues. Also, it takes time, could take many attempts and adjustments. Rarely is action research ever a one and done method, and could take a lot of time. So obviously, as a teacher, how are we going to fit that into your already busy schedule? How could I use action research to improve my teaching? It allows for me to improve and grow as an educator. It builds a culture of inquiry in my classroom, which I can help build that with our students as well, not just myself. It increases student success and overall well-being. We're going to keep that in mind the whole time. And allows us to focus on growth rather than deficits. So we're trying to find ways to achieve and improve student success instead of just identifying their deficits or what they can or can't do. Action research allows us to improve our collaboration and continue to build those really important relationships with our students. And also, we're demonstrating problem-solving skills to our students and modeling it to them, which allows them to grow on that subject as well. My experience with action research, prior to this, I had little to no knowledge of even what it was. But after reading the research, I've come to find out I've unconsciously I've done this many of times. Just kind of the first thing, personal, I accepted the new position at Winfield High School as a strength coach. We had no curriculum, basically left it up to me to find out what works best for our athletes and students. So during that, I identified the problems and issues that we were having previously to me being here. I gained some knowledge from some research and literature, and obviously consulted with some experts or people I know in this area, asked them what they do, what works best for them, to give me some ideas on it while I was brainstorming. Took many different attempts and adjustments, tweaks to figure out what how things were going to work, what was most efficient. Um, it really helped me with relating this to coaching. Um, this is action research is pretty much coaching 101, trying things out until you figure out what is most effective and what works best for your athletes or students. Um, I want to begin being more formal with this process in my classroom instead of informally doing it. And as a school and a district, uh, we don't have many opportunities for collaboration, um, not just through our schools or districts, but me being in the PE department kind of by myself, I don't have many opportunities to collaborate with other teachers in the building, which is something that I want to find ways to improve. Correlation. Um, this assignment correlated with our learning standard for this course by allowing myself to gain a better understanding of action research and how I can use it to grow as an educator. By gaining knowledge on the steps for action research, I can use this in my classroom to improve student learning and overall student well-being. This is something that I can use not only for myself, but as a learning tool for our school and district as a whole. This assignment was relevant to my learning by allowing me to add to my toolbox for improving myself as an educator and a future building administrator as well. Before this assignment, I did not have much knowledge of action research. Actually, had never really heard of it. Action research is something that I will formally be implementing into my classroom. The steps allow for me to make informed decisions based on data to continue to improve student learning and overall well-being. After working on this process individually, I want to share this with my school and district and work collaboratively to continue to grow as a whole learning community. Reflection. Before completing this assignment, I had little to no knowledge of what action research was. After reading through the references, I realized that I have unconsciously and informally been doing this for years, both in the classroom setting and as a coach of many different sports. Action research is pretty much coaching in a nutshell, focusing on growth and improvement and trying out new strategies and concepts until we find out what works best for our athletes or in a classroom or students. After learning of the steps and processes of action research, I want to become more formal with using this in a classroom setting and be able to share it with my staff at my school and our district as a whole. Here are my references. Thank you for watching.